Former President Jimmy Carter died Sunday. He celebrated his 100th birthday just a few months ago, making him the oldest living U.S. president. The peanut farmer from Georgia served just one term from 1977 to 1981. During that time, he brokered a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt that still stands today. His diplomacy and humanitarian work continued long after he left the White House, much of it with his wife Rosalind by his side.
He has done more good for the world since he served as president than any previous president in history. He set an example for all of us who feel we have an obligation to help our neighbors.
Carter died at home in Plains, Georgia, surrounded by family. He's survived by 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 14 great-grandchildren. His wife, Rosalind, died last year.
Meanwhile, American political leaders offering their condolences after Carter's death. That includes President Biden and President-elect Donald Trump. Reporter John Finoglio has those details.
Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words, but by his deeds.
The world is reacting to the passing of former President Jimmy Carter, including President Biden.
Just look at his life's work. He worked to eradicate disease, not just at home, but around the world. He forged peace, advanced civil rights, human rights, promoted free and fair elections around the world. He built housing for the homeless with his own hands. And his compassion and moral clarity lifted people up and changed lives and saved lives all over the globe.
President-elect Trump also weighing in, writing in part, "The challenges Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. We urge everyone to keep them in their hearts and prayers."
There's bipartisan support at this point celebrating President Carter and his life, because particularly his post-presidency, I think, will be remembered as a high watermark in American history for what presidents can do once they leave office and once they have that platform.
President Carter's impact after leaving the White House was immeasurable. He founded the Carter Presidential Center in Atlanta to battle poverty and homelessness around the globe. He advocated for denuclearization. He helped Habitat for Humanity build homes for Americans in need, often showing up at construction sites to work alongside other volunteers. Former President Barack Obama writing, "President Carter taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. Michelle and I send our thoughts and prayers to the Carter family and everyone who loved and learned from this remarkable man." In 2002, Carter was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his work advancing peace and humanitarian rights around the world.
We can choose to alleviate suffering. We can choose to work together for peace. We can make these changes, and we must.
Former President George W. Bush also issuing a statement saying in part, "James Earl Carter Jr. was a man of deeply held convictions. He was loyal to his family, his community, and his country." President Carter dignified the office. Carter also worked to broker peace in the Middle East. In 1978, bringing together the Prime Minister of Israel and the President of Egypt at Camp David, a historic moment on the world stage. A moment Carter's grandson says was one of his grandfather's most notable achievements.
I think that he would say that his greatest accomplishment during the presidency was the Camp David Accords. That peace in the Middle East was such a fundamental part of his life's journey, that he believed in it. He fought for it for his whole life.
I've had a wonderful life. I've had thousands of friends, and I've had an exciting and adventurous and gratifying existence.